pick up your hand out for the interview process. Please repeat after me. Tell about the rising. How noted and one known. Tell about the fallen. How noted and one known. Report or thinking, planning. How noted and one known. Report of feelings. How noted and one known. Report all dhammas that arise. How noted and one known. Object noting what is known. These 3 points are key. Include these 3 precisely, clearly. For each object seen. Don't add flap. Just say the first short and to the point. Be free, no extra. Just the essence. In rewarding, use time carefully. Let us recite again all together. Tell about the rising. How noted and one know. Tell about the fallen. How noted and one know. Report all thinking blindly. How noted and one know. Report all feelings. How noted and one know. Report all dhammas that arise. How noted and one know. Object noting what is known. These 3 points are key. Include these 3 precisely, clearly. For each object seen. Don't add flap. Just say the first short and to the point. Be free, no etc. Just the essence. Everybody use time carefully. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today, I will continue to discuss about suffering and non-self of the 5 aggregates. The words suffering in English and dukkha in Pali have more meaning than what appears on the surface. Dukkha means suffering, something difficult to endure, oppression. According to the Buddha's definition, whatever is impermanent is suffering. Why should something important be called suffering? Sometimes we enjoy good food, good companionship. We enjoy many things. Are those things dukkha? When you are enjoying good food, do you say, oh, I'm suffering? According to the Buddha, indeed you are. Why are such seemingly harmless activities called suffering? You must understand the characteristics of suffering. The commentary gives 3 reasons why the 5 aggregates of clinging are called suffering. The first reason is that they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. You must keep firmly in mind that the constant oppression by rise and fall is the characteristic of dukkha. If you want to know whether or not something is dukkha, try to see whether it rises and falls. If it does, it has to be oppressed by the rising and falling, and that oppression is what dukkha means. So all 5 aggregates, including the 5 aggregates of clinging, are called dukkha because they are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. Look at everything in the world, and you will see that everything is oppressed by rise and fall. And that rise and fall also are constantly oppressed by rise and fall. Can you find a single moment when there is no rise and fall? You can find a single moment when the process of rise and fall stops. From the moment you take conception, this rise and fall begins to oppress you. And it goes on and on throughout your life. There is not a single moment when you are free from rise and fall. There is always rise and fall, rise and fall, rise and fall. When you see things during meditation, you know them as rising and falling, rising and falling, one after another, maybe hundreds of objects. Then you get the impression that everything is oppressed by rising and falling. This rising and falling is a kind of oppression. Falling means destructions, which is a kind of oppression. And rising is precursor to falling. It rises so that it can fall. And falling is also a kind of oppression. Rising and falling oppress the 5 aggregates every moment, creating continuous oppression. This constant oppression by rise and fall is the characteristic of dukkha. If you can understand dukkha in this way, you can accept the fact that enjoying good food is dukkha. Whatever you are enjoying is dukkha. because there is nothing that is not dukkha. And you can accept the teaching of the Buddha that the five aggregates of clinging are suffering. When explaining the first noble truth in his first sermon, the Buddha said at the end, the five aggregates of clinging are suffering, which means in brief that everything in the world is suffering. If you understand this to mean the continuous operation by rise and fall, you can easily accept the truthfulness of the Buddha's explanation. If you don't understand it, you may want to argue about the Buddha's teaching and talk about some kinds of happiness, enjoyment, and so forth. But this I want you to understand and to hold firmly in mind. The meaning of dukkha is constant operation by rise and fall. We will now turn to another way of understanding the five aggregates of clinging in terms of the 11 aspects listed in the Silavanda Sutta. As you already know, the Venerable Sariputta said that a bhikkhu who is virtuous and instructed should attend to the five aggregates of clinging as impermanent. This means that the bhikkhu must practice meditation so that he sees the five aggregates of clinging as impermanent, as you have already studied. Then he must see them as suffering. As you have also studied, now he must see them as a disease. The bhikkhu who is virtuous and instructed must see the aggregates of clinging as a chronic disease. A person who has a chronic disease such as diabetes, asthma, or high blood pressure is not free. He cannot eat what he likes, but must take medicine and avoid eating food. That would aggravate his condition. He must always be careful. The disease may increase and at times decrease, but he is never in control, no matter how careful he is. The disease is still there. However much attention and care is given to a chronic disease, it is never cured. In the same way, however much you find fault with the five aggregates, you still have them and need to attend to them. You must avoid food that is unsuitable for the body. You must avoid living in an unsuitable climate for the body. And you need to take care of a host of other things just because of the 5 aggregates. So these aggregates can be viewed as a chronic disease. The bhikkhu who is virtuous and instructed also must see the 5 aggregates of clinging as a tumor or a soul. When you have tumor or soul that oozes blood and pus and causes a lot of pain, you must care for it with medication. The 5 aggregates are like a tumor. Many repulsive things ooze out, such as greed, hatred, delusion, pride, and envy. Greed, lobha, dodha, moha, mana, and asa. They ooze out of the eyes, ears, nose, tongues, body, and mind. They are always oozing out. When we see something beautiful, what oozes out of our eyes? Greed or attachment. And if we see something we don't like, anger oozes out of our eyes. Because these things are always oozing out of the 5 aggregates. They are like tumors or souls. The bhikkhu must also see the 5 aggregates of clinging as a dart. Dart. When a dart penetrates a body, it causes sharp pain whenever you touch the spot. In the same way, the 5 aggregates give us suffering of the different kinds because we have eyes, we have to suffer the objects we don't want to see. Because we have ears, we have to suffer the sounds we don't like to hear. They are like dust in our flesh. And once a dart gets into the flesh, it is not easily removed. So the 5 aggregates are to be viewed as a dart causing suffering. And the aggregates of clinging are to be seen as misery. The 5 aggregates are also to be viewed as akusalat. The original Pali word is agag, agag. And in one commentary, it is explained as a dukkha, as dukkha. If we take this word to mean dukkha, it would be the same as the word suffering. But the Visuddhimagga explains it differently. It describes agga, A-G-H-A, agga, as being sensuary, deserving of sensual, like akusala karma, that is censured by noble beings and given painful results. The 5 aggregates are sensual because they give us pain, suffering, and bad results. So they are to be viewed as akusala akusala mean unwholesome. They also are to be seen as affliction, which here means occasional sickness, such as a cold, indigestion, diarrhea, or fever. When you are sick for a few days and unable to eat or to do what you like, you may suffer because of this affliction, even though it is an occasional sickness. Occasional sickness. It can afflict you with the suffering. In the same way, the 5 aggregates are like occasional sickness. Since we are composed of the 5 aggregates, we cannot do what we like. We have to look after them, protect them, and avoid what is unsuitable for them. So a monk is instructed to see these 5 aggregates of clinging as affliction or occasional sickness. We have now studied 7 aspects of the aggregates as impermanent, as suffering, as disease, as tumor, as death, as misery, and as affliction. Original Bali word is nature do, dukkha do, roga do, ganda do, sala do, agado, abada do. Abada do. These are Bali words. Please repeat after me. Nature do, dukkha do, roga do, ganda do, sala do, agado, abadado. As impermanence is a nature do, as a suffering dukkha do, as disease roga do, as tumor ganda do, as death sala do, as misery agados, and as affliction abadado. All of the 7 are aspects of the being dukkha. So the 5 aggregates can be seen as a dukkha, or in terms of these 7 individual aspects, in seeing them as a disease, as a tumor, and so on. We are seeing the dukkha aspect of the 5 aggregates. The next aspect is alien. A person who is an alien is not in our power because he owes allegiance to another country. He is an outsider and we have no authority over him. So we refer to him as alien. The 5 aggregates must be regarded as alien, not belonging to us, and something we cannot control. This alien aspect belongs to another. And now we come to the another nature of things. Dukkha, now is anatta. The teachings of the anatta is the most distinctive feature of the Buddha's teachings. It is the most difficult to understand, the most misunderstood, and the most misinterpreted of his teachings. The Buddha appeared at a time when most people strongly believed in the existence of an one entity called Atta in Pali. Almost all other faiths believed in one kind of Atta or another. But the Buddha appeared and he thought that there is no Atta. There are only the 5 aggregates, and these 5 aggregates are not Atta. In order to understand Anatta, we first need to understand Atta. We first need to understand Atta, which in the time of the Buddha was seen as different things, as a master, as one who lives somewhere permanently, as an active person, and as one who fully experiences both joy and suffering. According to these views, there is also something called an Atta residing in one's body. One's body, and this Atta is a master. It is a master of itself, and it is master of the body. There are people who think that they are masters of themselves. They do what they want to do, say what they want to say, eat what they want to eat, and go where they want to go. If they really think they are masters of themselves, they should try practicing meditation for 5 minutes and see if they can keep the mind on the object. Then they would really see if they are masters of themselves. Their minds will wander off quite often and not stay where their owners want them to stay. Phase 5, the 5 aggregates, there is this helplessness in us. Although we think that we can think of whatever we want to think, if we try to train our mind on one object, we see that we are not masters of ourselves. We are at the mercy of our mind, and so the sense of anatta, not Atta, manifests itself to us when we try to practice meditation. Then we know with certainty that we are not masters of ourselves. Actually, there is nothing that is master of the body. There are people who still think that there is something called an Atta living in the body. It enters our body at the moment of conception or moment of rebirth. And it lives in the body for the entire life. And when we die, it will leave our body and enter a new body. It will go on like that and never dying. Although the physical body will die, this is one belief in Ada that many people had during the time of the Buddha. Are you really free from this notion? Some Buddhists even say something like this. They say that there is a soul or Ada, and that when we die, it will leave out of one's mouth or nose. So even Buddhists still have this belief. This is known as a belief in Ada, as something abiding in us permanently. Permanently here means it will change from one body to another, and it is go on without becoming impermanent. It is permanent and goes on from one life to another, one body to another. Only the physical body deteriorates and dies. This belief is compared to wearing new clothes. When clothes get old and dirty, and a person leaves them and gets new clothes. In the same way, this Ada resides in the body, and when the body becomes old and dies, the Ada will move into another new body, and so on. This understanding can have some terrible consequences. Sayadaw Utsilananda says, there's a teaching in one book, not a Buddhist book, that says you cannot kill the Atta. So if you kill a person, you are just killing his physical body, not his Atta. That makes it all right to kill. If there is need to kill, suppose you are engaged in a battle and against you have to kill other people. Those who hold to the other view will say, go ahead and kill them. It is your duty to kill our enemies. Even though that you kill them, you are not killing the other. It can never be killed. This kind of notion has dire effects if taken too far. There are also people who believe there is an atta, and this atta does everything we do. When we do something, it is not we who do the actions, but the atta. Whatever we do is actually the action of atta. That is one view of Ada. There is another view that it is Ada that experience, enjoys or suffers. When we enjoy something, it is not we who enjoy, but the Ada that enjoys. And when we suffer, it is the Ada that suffers. Whenever we experience anything, it is the other that experience, not we. For those who believe in this way, other is very real. The Buddha rejected all of these theories And in his second sermon and later discourses, he thought that Rupa is not Adam, Vedana is not Adam, and so on. Because he knew the truth of another, he rejected the view of a permanent entity. The view of other, it is important that we see the another nature of the aggregates of clinging and of mind and matter. In order to see the another nature of things, you need to practice vipassana meditation. Only through vipassana meditation can you see that the rupa and others of the five aggregates are not self and not other. And there is no other in rupa or in the five aggregates. When you practice vipassana, you watch mind, matter, thoughts, emotions, the breath, the movements of the abdomen, and so on. And when your concentration or understanding becomes mature, you begin to see the object, mind, matter, or the five aggregates clearly. When you begin to see clearly, you will know what they are. And then you will see them rise and fall. You will see that at every moment there is the object that is noted and the mind that knows. You can find only two things at every moment of meditation. When you are mindful of the breath, there is the breath and there is awareness. There are only these two things. There is nothing in the form of a person administering the mindfulness of the breath. At such moments, we see only the breath and mindfulness of the breath, and there is nothing more. We cannot see other there. Only when you see through vipassana meditation that there is no other. There is no permanent entity involved in seeing, hearing, and so on. Do you see the nature of another correctly? Another nature can be seen only through the practice of vipassana meditation. When you practice meditation, you will come to see that there is no master, no such things as a permanent abider, no such things as a doer, no such things as an experiencer, no such thing as a permanent abider, no such thing as a doer, no such things as an experiencer. There's only the experience. There's only the doing. There is no doer and no experiencer. At every moment of any experience, you can see for yourself that no person, no individual, no other is involved. but just the doing action or just the experiencing action. So through vipassana, you come to see the another nature of things. This is one kind of another nature. There is another kind of another nature. It is not subject to any authority or control. When you see mind and matter arise and disappear, arise and disappear, you know that you cannot interfere with that process. You cannot tell them, hey, wait a moment, just stop arising, stop disappearing. You cannot do that. You cannot have any authority over them. Actually, you are helpless. You are helpless. Mind and matter just arise and disappear by their own natures, but their own free will. And not at your free will. This is also an aspect of another having no authority over a process. This is susceptible to authority. In order to know the another nature, we need to know three things. What is another? What is the characteristic of another? And what is another nupassana? What is it that is another? The same five aggregates. The same five aggregates are not self, and the same five aggregates have no self. When you find the word another, you must be careful. Sometimes it is translated as meaning without other. Instead, let us say that a rupa is without other. This would mean that there is other, but rupa is without other. Another really means no other. Therefore, it is the negation of rupa being other. So, when we say rupa is another, we mean rupa is no other, not so, not self. Another is sometimes translated as a soullessness. Soullessness. If we say the five aggregates are soulless, then they will say that the five aggregates are soulless, but there is the soul somewhere outside the five aggregates. The what another comes from na, and a not, which means no, and other, which means self. So another means not self. It also can mean not self. And when we extend the meaning, it can mean we cannot have any authority over it. And also it means the five aggregates have no core. Some trees have an inner core, the hardwood, but the rupa extra have no such core that lasts forever and is permanent. So another has three meanings: no other, not subject to authority, and not core. It is no other, because other can mean authority and core. So when we say another, we mean one of these three things. It is not other. We cannot have any authority over it, or it has no core. This is called the characteristic of another. The fact that we cannot exercise any authority over it points to it being another. So what is it? That is another. The five aggregates. What is the mark or another? Having no authority and also having no core or being no core. Understanding that the five aggregates are another through observation of the five aggregates or during the observation of the five aggregates is called another nupassana, repeated seeing or repeated observation of another. Nibbana is also another because it is no other, but Nibbana is not mentioned in this discourse or in the Visuddhimagga, because the context here is vipassana. When we are talking about vipassana, we do not include Nibbana because it is not an object of vipassana. Only the five aggregates of clinging can be the object of the vipassana. So, when you practice vipassana, you take the five aggregates of clinging as object, but you do not take Nibbana as object. The purpose of the vipassana is to see the three characteristics. Nibbana has none of these three characteristics. So, however much you watch Nibbana, even if you quote, you will never see impermanence of Nibbana or suffering of Nibbana. Nibbana is another, not other. This we must understand. When we are talking about vipassana, when we are in the context of vipassana, we leave out Nibbana simply because it cannot be the object of vipassana. But if we are speaking in general about such things as what is it, that is another, then we may speak about the five aggregates and Nibbana. Characteristics of impermanence, suffering, and non-soul or not self, nature, dukkha, and anatta are called the general characteristics of all conditioned phenomena because they are found in all conditioned phenomena. That means in all aggregates, in all mind and matter, it is very important that you see these three characteristics, because without seeing them, you cannot progress in the practice of vipassana meditation and cannot reach the stage of enlightenment. In order to see these three characteristics, there is no other way but to practice vipassana or satipatthana meditation. You also need to know what constitutes these characteristics. Why? Those who do not practice meditation cannot see them, and how these concealments are broken. You need to know what results you can get from understanding or seeing the five aggregates as impermanent suffering and non-self or non-soul. That's all. We cannot. We continue next time. We have to stop our discourse for today. May you be able to note the 5 aggregates of grasping whenever they arise at the six sense doors. May you realize their impermanence, suffering, and not self natures. May you make swift progress in your insight and realize Nibbana, the end of all sufferings. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We will recite Mahasatipatthana Odesa Pali. Ekayano ayam bhikkhave Mago Sadanam Visodiya Sogabari Dewana Samadegamaya Doga Domanasana Adingamaya Nyayasa Adigamaya Nibanasa Sajigiriyaya Yadidam Chadara Sadibadana Kadame Chadara Ida Begawe Beku Kaye Kaya Nubasi Viharati Adabi Sambhajano Sadima Vineya Loge Abhijadomanasam Viranasu Virananubasi Viharati Adabi Sambhajano Sadima Vineya Loge Abhijadomanasam Chede Chedanubasi Viharati Adabi Sambhajano Sadima Vineya Loge Abhijadomanasam Dhamesu Dhammanubasi Viharati Adabi Sambhajano Sadima Vineya Loge Abhijadomanasam. English translation. This is the only way, bhikkhus, for the beautification of beings, for the overcoming of sorrow and limitation, for the experience of pain and grief, for reaching the noble path, for the realization of Nibbana, namely the full foundation of mindfulness. What are the four here in this teaching bhikkhus? A bhikkhu dwells contemplating the body and the body, and then clearly comprehend the mindful, the moving desire, and the disconnect the war. Bhikkhu dwells contemplating the feelings, and then clearly comprehend the mindful, the moving desire, and the disconnect the world. Bhikkhu dwells contemplating the consciousness, ardents clearly comprehend the mindful, the moving desire, and the disconnect the world. Bhikkhu dwells contemplating among the dhammas, ardents clearly comprehend the mindful, the moving desire, and the disconnect the world. Honoring and share merit. Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Badibadiya Bodham Bujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Badibadiya Dhamma Bujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Badibadiya Sangha Bujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Badibadiya Madhabidara Ujemi Imaya Dhammanu Dhamma Badibadiya Ajariye Ujemi Adaimaya Padibadaya Jara Maranama Parimoje Jami Idame Bonya Asawakayawaha Hodu Idame Sila Megabala Nyanaza Vajayo Hodu Imano Bonya Bagan Sabasadanam Jemam Sabe Sada Sukhida Ondu Sadhu Sadhu